Now, here's hoping I've unmuted the right ones. Hello, everybody. I'm hoping, if I'm correct here, we're back. We're actually back for the first time in a long time. Hello, and welcome back to the Component Cast's coverage of Lancer. It's just business. But before we get on with that,
it didn't evaporate.
We didn't evaporate. We were mildly absorbed by the void for a while, but it happens with shows. But we're back. So, Roach, what are we back with?
Shit.
I should have asked Roach if she had her spiel up.
Yeah, you should have. We're playing Lancer. It's I forgot what my spiel was. We're playing Lancer. It's a TTRPG game made by Massive Press, available on their website and itch.io page. You can get the basic rules for free, and the rule book is available in both digital and physical format. I think this physical format is still available, but that spiel is months old, so it might be out of print again. I don't know.
And
yeah, it's good. Pick it up.
And Mikey, do you have anything to promote today?
I do believe I have some spiel to spiel. You can check out our artist who's drawn all the character portraits that you'll see during the show. Their name is Mela. You can find her on Twitter and Tumblr as BUY by Space Creator. And as for the shows, you can find all of them on our individual podcast channels. So you can find them by searching the show's title. So, for example, if in the future you decided to rewatch all of the Lancer episodes, you search Lancer, It's Just Business on any of the podcasts apps that we have it on, and you can find it. You can find our Dungeons and Dragons show, the Underworld Chronicles, our Urban Jungle Show, Core Lancers, Y100 Show, The Great Escapes, and Lancer Show, It's Just Business, Cyberpunk shows, Night City Terrors, and our specials, including Late Just My Rules Own Special, The Goodies Always Removal Special, The House of Time Museum Special, My Passive Ghost, and Bellegarde Goodbye Specials on the Podbean, Player FM, Podchaser, Listen Notes, Play, App Podcast, Overcast, Podcast, Castro, Castbox, Pod Friends, Podcast Addicts, Podcast Republics, Bullhorn FM, and Good Pods apps. Shows released on YouTube and on the podcast channels at 12 noon GMT, Friday for Allendor, Saturday for Lancer, and Sunday for the specials. Please remember to turn on the auto downloader for your preferred app, and be sure to leave a rating and review, and share it with your friends who are equally as nerdy. And if you could do us all a massive favor, down below, both in all of the places that this is, so on the podcast apps, on YouTube, and on Twitch, right down below, there is a link to our master links, which is a Doris provided link, where you can find our merch store, which multiple of us are wearing right now. Do us a favor, buy some merch. It's limited run. Once the show is done, there is no more of that merch available. You can see just over my shoulder here, there is a Dracoga Knights poster and a Lancer poster. Those are limited run. Once the show is done, they no longer exist. This Dracoga Knights poster is an actual collector's item, funnily enough. If you want it, it's one of the few ones that exist. So, that is my spieled, Mr. Midgeman.
Well, without further ado, I think for the first time in a long time, we need to go to our intro. This scene is busted. Give me a moment.
Great first. We're doing good.
Difficulties.
We're doing good.
We're doing it live is what we're doing.
Doing it live.
Roach, take us away.
Right, so there's a lot to cover, mostly because we have to cover the game. Because it's been so long, I don't think just covering the previous session is going to help anyone, most of all me. So, our group of Lancers are a part of Avari Military Solutions. They came together through odd circumstances. Some of them signing up for a unit that they actually didn't know was driving mechs. Others being randomly assigned because their original individuals that were going to be piloting the mechs died. And then others just had signed up and were a part of a different team that all died. There's a lot of death or mistaken identity that goes into making this team. But they have come together. I've been trying to find the notes on exactly a few things, but some of that stuff got moved around. But you all arrived with a fleet from Avari Military Solutions to take over a star system that had rebelled against its original royal family. The Tanim star system, with a single inhabited, like, kind of Terran class planet, her Earth class, Cradle class planet, whatever the nomenclature is, and that led to a landing, of which there's many hard-fought battles, self-destruction to complete an objective, finding of Padre. Who actually, that's actually a good point. Why don't we actually do this in a logical way and go through everybody's individual character? Starting on my screen first, Padre, our resident former clergy, priest,
former preacher of a religion known as the Religion of the One.
The One.
Yeah, he turned his life around from being a mega church, priest
call center
and
worker.
a call center worker, essentially. Taking collect prayers, and shipping them up to the One, putting them in the mainframe, uploading them to the Matrix as it is. And when they took his mega church, went corporate and went off-world, he had to find work elsewhere and somehow ended up in Avari Military Solutions as now the resident, I would say artillerist, but considering we're about to level up and pretty much all of my artillery in the standard conventional kinetic sense is gone, I'm our energy weapons expert, I guess, now. But I burn things, basically, with the hot fusion of a reactor. A nuclear cavalier, if you will.
You burn things with the hot core of belief in the One.
Yes.
And a fusion reactor.
And a fusion reactor.
That is barely stable.
No, it's very stable. It's so stable, I can manipulate it to not be.
It's a good point. I guess that's a way of thinking about it. And then going on, we have Spanner, the individual who was a last-minute replacement for a corpse.
Yep. Apparently, the person who was supposed to be in my mech didn't want to be cloned, which is rude. So, yep, Spanner is a mechanic. She was chucked in to a mech because she had a vague idea of how to run one, but she's never been in a
certified.
fight. I mean, so at the very beginning, she was very scared, but this group of, let's be honest, nobody expected us to survive misfits. That's literally why we're in Hammer. Has guided her along, and now she is the DM's most annoying jammer of all things mech, because tech attacks are the best and I refuse to hear any different.
It hurts me when we go to your turn physically. And then we go on to the resident CO of Special Operations Group Hammer, who has been here from the start, who signed up for it.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Harrison Martini, or Demon, as he's known, literally is a soldier for hire. Spent most of his adult life in the military of some description, and signed up for this because it was a good paycheck. Although when he signed up, he wasn't expected to be put in the dregs unit, if we're being honest. But he's kind of happy with the team we've got. We've got our resident, I won't say door kicker, but small wall kicker in Ursa. Anything that happens to be in the way, just point and Ursa makes it go away. Our resident sniper, who has much fun jumping up on top of buildings. Our nuclear enthusiast, who wants to turn himself into a sun every battle. And our good friend who basically is my second in command with fellow military experience. So we've kind of built ourselves a nice little unit here that seems to get things done when other people don't think we can.
True underdog story. The blunt instrument of the Avari Expeditionary Force.
Whoa. Scalpel, thank you.
Dull scalp.
Very dull scalpel.
We are the hammer of Avari military solutions.
I was going to point out, I say blunt instrument given the fact that you fought a Corvette in the last fight. We're going to get to that. And to defeat it, Padre spirit bombed it, essentially.
We are the chisel the Carthaginians used to put elephants out of their misery of the Avari military solutions.
I do recall in the last mission we also
That is
put in an orbital bombardment.
We did.
You did.
That is a-
You did, yeah.
That we've been holding on to for so long.
I think if people are looking over the incredibly specific historical nerd reference that Midge put forward there, that I think needs breathing room to acknowledge.
Yeah,
given the
I
fact
missed
that
it. What was it?
given the fact that only I got it.
Oh, the elephants of Carthage being put out of their misery with the chisel.
So yeah, okay.
Wonder
So,
who here works on historical computer games?
There's two of them,
Yeah.
actually.
yeah. So, and then we also have another individual who volunteered for this work. Mikey, go ahead.
Well, to quote one of my favorite actors, I did in fact ask for this. So, Reaper, as he is known to friend and unfortunately enemy alike, started off his career as a sanctioned assassin for the Union. Used to be a lot of fun going around planet hopping, taking out warlords who wouldn't acquiesce, and sometimes he's got to take the head off the hydrant and take the head off the snake. The hydra doesn't work because another one pops up. Take the head off the snake to make sure that as many people survive as possible. So that was his job for a long time. But after a while, quite a few years of working and being in cryo for weeks at a time, out of cryo for a week, back into cryo for a few weeks, he decided, you know what? I'm going to do something a bit selfish for once. And I'm going to sign up to a private military outfit. And I'm going to see if these guys are actually any good at being a private military. So far, But, lots of death. But hey, at least the squad that I'm with seems...
It's been fun.
Yeah! It's been fun. And also, to give credit where credit is due, Demon might very well be the best CEO he's ever worked with, which is saying something.
You have a very low standard.
Oh, he usually doesn't work with anyone. The whole sanctioned assassin thing means that he didn't really have a CEO as much as he had someone hand him a slip of paper and say, hey, kill this person. And then the paper was self-destruct,
Also, how many assignments do you get where you can just 1v1 a spaceship?
God, I had so much fun doing that. People listen, right? I'm going to look into the camera for this one. Go back and watch the last episode. Just go back and watch episode 22 because, my God, that episode is so good, and the debate we got into over whether or not we should allow certain things to happen. There are people still commenting on that video. There are people still commenting on that video about that because it's so intense. But yes, that's Reaper. Reaper is the sanctioned assassin turned private sniper who almost one-shot a Corvette with a sniper rifle. Almost one-shot a Corvette with a sniper rifle last session. So,
last episode was the most nerdy, new rules lawyery, like nitpicky we've ever gotten. Both sides of the of the coin on that.
So far.
So far. So, but yeah, no, it was genuinely a good episode. And then we go over to Utari, another individual who signed up for this work specifically to pilot a mech, to be a Lancer, in the form of our slightly German-sounding Drax. Or vaguely German.
His motivation is a slight modification of Mr. Krabs. I like mech.
Yeah.
So Drax Olstein was a military person and wanted to continue being a military person. Started off as an artillery officer at a planetary-based militia organization, and saw the opportunity to become a mech pilot. But after having managed to certify into mechs in said force, and then thought, why don't I do a job that I enjoy doing but get more money for it? Which leads into the other side of the Mr. Krabs reference, which is that I like money part too. He's a simple man.
All the time.
Yeah, he likes mechs and likes to make cash out of it. And yeah.
Drax, why did you put a second mech next to your first one? I like mechs.
No? Yeah. And piloting a fairly, if I remember right, the mech you're piloting.
It's a walking wall, effectively. It's
Yeah.
a mech that just wall. It's
The
pretty much
shield.
defines it. The shield, yeah.
Is the shield. So you have the walking wall, the shield, the protector of the team, and then we go on to an individual who signed up for it but didn't necessarily know that this was what he was signing up for, but now has become the one that kicks other walls so they don't kick over your team's wall, in the form of Oleg. Go ahead.
Yeah, Oleg was a farm boy working for a corp farm on a planet in the middle of nowhere. When they looked at their holdings, they realized, man, this guy's he's pretty big. They might want to use him for something else. So they purchased his contract and they put him in a mercenary trading program. They taught him how to represent starships. What does that mean? It means they launch you from a drop pod into a starship and you kill everyone on board. Because that's how you do it, because that's how it's done efficiently. He did that for a while. Was part of a crew called Door Knockers. And financially it worked out, but not for long. And he was sold off to another company who wanted to start looking into performing experiments. So he was experimented on, turned him into a proper super soldier. That failed. And then after that failed, he was out of work, dealing with the side effects of being a super soldier before he was eventually sold off and signed up with AMS. Became a mech pilot for technically the second time. Oleg doesn't realize what he was piloting before was mech. He thought it was the power suit. It is the semantics of doing this. And
Legal
since then,
distinctions.
he has been serving with AMS ever since, and is still the party's resident door knocker. If you need a person to not be in your way, Oleg is your man. He'll make that happen.
Or a lot of people, if the ammunition holds out for certain weapons.
Hey, Oleg, you see that group of infantry? I don't want to see it anymore.
Okay. He's a simple man, but he does love what he does.
You know what?
He's
that
good
is
at what he
we all
does.
want. That's what we all
Yeah.
want in life. To enjoy what we do and be good at it.
We've got
right.
like a couple of characters that are like, they're good at their job and that's what they like to do. Very simple, straight up and down characters. Quite a few of them in this group.
In this career,
Honestly,
I think you have to.
yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think you really get far being a mech pilot in combat and like having a lot of like behavioral issues.
I don't really like
Or-
mechs.
like, yeah,
I do it for the money, you know?
yeah. Like any real world organization, Shinji wouldn't be certified to pilot the Ava.
Oh, yeah.
He'd wash out. They find somebody.
Shinji.
I don't care if that doesn't work in the lore. I'm making a joke.
Nerv was the poster child for nepotism.
Get a robot. All right. Yeah, and other random.
Facts.
Get out of the robot.
That's true. Yeah, and other individuals that have come about that are major, I guess, NPCs that you interact with on a common basis and might show up in this kind of, recap roleplay session is your handler. One is assigned to every group that works within AMS, every Lancer group, and yours is Juliet. It's her shorthand is Juliet, since it's a code that is used to denote her. But you just call her Juliet. Though her real name is oh god, where's it at? I just had it. Yes, please, Red. You're gonna get it quicker than I am, and I've got the master notes.
Grace.
Grace Reyes, that's what it is. Or as Padre put it at one point, her Lancer nickname, if she ever went into that, would be Gracias.
I remember that. I remember dying laughing at that joke.
Yeah, it's a pretty good joke. Yeah, and her full call sign is Sierra2 Juliet, but you just call her Juliet. Because short, sweet, and it works.
She doesn't seem to mind.
At
I
this
think
point,
she probably prefers Grace if we're face to face with her. Maybe.
that's how it's depending. She does refer to you mostly by your call signs, even in face to face, which seems to be a pretty common thing that happens from everybody in kind of the Lancer Corps with AMS. But yeah, so that's our crew. That's Hammer Group. That's Special Operations Group Hammer, the random detritus of the rest of the Lancer detachment with this force thrown in together and kind of just like sent at jobs that the other ones don't need done. Like they don't have anybody to do, or where they need something to be done right now and they don't really care about what comes out the other side.
Am I right in thinking that we've actually got a better success rate than anyone else right now?
Well, you're not really super familiar with a lot of the other groups in here. You've really only met in terms of like full teams. God, what is it?
Echo's team.
Yeah, you know Echo. You know
And
Echo and Grim. You also know Mr. Thompson in Warhawk. Mr. Thompson, because he looks like a high school principal, and they just gave him that name. And he's looked like one perpetually for 20 years.
He's just got that look.
Yeah, he's just got that look. Yeah, you know Thunder, which is Echo, Grim, Silver Fox, and Poe. And Team Warhawk, all you know is Mr. Thompson, and you also know there is a Team Raptor that exists.
And we also know what happened to Padre's team, and we've definitely got a better success rate than them.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Definitely true. And you also know the two senior members of the Lancer group, which is Sunshine and Low Pass, who are kind of like command of the whole thing. You've at least like seen them. Sunshine being the super goth girl who's your like the highest ranking officer who also pilots a mech, and but the highest ranking officer is just a guy named Xavier. Yeah. So last time we saw our team, unbeknownst to them, there was a slight temporal disturbance and some things changed that we're going to go over. Things get wonky. There's para-reality, para-causality research and shit going on. Who knows what the fuck happened?
Paracausality?
Yeah, that's actually a thing in the lore. That's like a thing.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, NHPs are like non-human persons.
And I just
operate off of
his
it.
bullshit to cover the time gap.
No, paracausality. It's an outlawed research field because it potentially could lead to the destruction of the human race.
Let's not just use ramming two words together to make something sound technical.
No. Don't worry, I do that a lot though. Meal cubes? But yeah, but so what actually happened in the last fight was a major strike done by Padre that for a split second looked like the ship that they were fighting, the Corvette that had come down from high orbit to fuck specifically with them. Looked like it almost lived. And maybe in an alternate parallel reality, it did, with like a handful of HP. Or 2 HP, I think it was specifically. But in this reality, the one we're going to go with, Padre and the GM remembered that he had a turret drone out at the time, which did the final 2 HP of damage to kill the Corvette. Exactly.
Okay, and you lot complain that I break the fourth wall when I GM?
Yeah, but I'm like quirky when I do it. But so the Corvette is destroyed. The Corvette with the name Blind Date. Blind Date is blown up. And after that, at that point you had already finished destroying the refueling and rearming infrastructure of this air station Mike 26, that you had attacked. And what resulted from that was actually a fairly sedate retreat from the combat zone away from the perimeter of the base into an area of flat ground with good sight lines for setting up like a defensive and LZ and waiting for your pickup, as had been stated in the Operation Operod, which would be coming. And about a half hour later, because it's orbital mechanics, like you're not going to rush it. Unless you're a suicidal Corvette pilot who found out that their one refueling base that's within range is under attack right fucking now. So damn the heat shielding, we're going down.
Damn the G-forces, I don't care if I pass out.
I don't care if the crew chief's jelly, we're going in. So yeah, you wait about a half hour, and what greets you is a kind of a Corvette of your own, but a transport, essentially. A Corvette kind of sized transport specifically designed to move Lancers and their machines from a combat zone back up to fleet assets in orbit. Big, lumbering, kind of like... How do I describe it? Try to imagine a utility craft, like a military utility craft with all of the eccentricities and waste that would occur from the committee design that entails, but also still needing to be what is essentially a giant wing to work. So, but not wing length, just wing shaped in a cross section. It's like a big wedge that has like itself generates lift when it's going about like Mach 1. Like at that point it generates lift. But past that it's just the thrusters that are keeping that thing aloft. So yeah, you have to trust yourself in that to move. But hey, for a lot of you, this is actually better than some of the rickety stuff that second or third rate Union planetary militia would use or stuff like that. So I mean, AMS is I wouldn't even say second string mercenary company. They're like third string, but they're like a good third string. They're like the ones that could go 2.5 string. Yeah, they could go up a conference if they really wanted to.
Well, I can tell that the seals have been changed recently, so therefore this is better than some of the actual military stuff I've been on.
Yeah, you almost don't even hear the titanium popping when the pressure starts changing and the heat differential starts hitting. It's there, but it's a lot more. There's sound dampening here, though.
Yeah, for those of you who played it, it's like Mass Effect 1, where Tali can't sleep because the place is too quiet. It's the opposite effect. It's like, oh, it's too loud, I can't sleep. No, it's too quiet, I can't sleep because it doesn't make sense that things are quiet. Usually things are really loud.
Yeah. That is a thing. People get used to certain emotions whenever they're in just a thing. Yeah. There was a time when I was really young that I rode with my dad while he was driving a truck, and it took me a long time to be able to get to sleep in a stationary bed, because I was used to sleeping in a moving truck, in the back bunk and everything, and it's it's very surprisingly easy to sleep back there. And now I get motion sickness when I'm a passenger in a car.
Yeah, it's funny that I get a little bit car sick, but when I'm driving, I'm totally fine.
Yeah, no, it's the thing. That's the thing. The whole Scotland trip, I had to be in the front passenger seat next to Rival or Midge or whoever was driving at that time, or I got motion sickness, and it was torture on Mikey because he's because he's a fucking giant, and it was
things I do for love.
But yeah, or pity. You could have just said pity.
Both.
Yeah, that makes sense. But yeah, so yeah, you wait a half hour. You get on this transport craft. You exit from your mechs, some of which are damaged. They've got some problems with them, some of which are remarkably okay. But definitely compared to previous missions that you've done. Because if you think about it, all your previous missions have been kind of sorties, essentially. They've lasted less than, at most, 2 days. Like the longest one was your last mission in the capital city, where you kind of had to do a recon at night and then an attack on a prisoner transport. So I mean, this has been a long cross-country journey. While on your mechs, there are just the hip joints on some of these things are starting to reach their max lifespan. They need to be replaced and just reprinted. You've got oil that needs to change, hydraulic fluids leaking on at least 3 of the mechs have got some hydraulic leaks, but that's kind of a common thing. Really, all you kind of do on that is you just put a patch on it and you don't worry, and you top it up if it starts going down. So you're all dealing with that as you ride up into orbit. And as you all know, it takes a while because orbital mechanics are orbital mechanics. And when they drop this ship while it was in orbit, that means the ship has to go back up. And the thing it's rendezvousing has to go all the way back around the planet again. So given the problems with the current planetary defense network and what you're flying over, you have to go pretty high up in there, which takes a while. So you're kind of, it's a little deja vu from the first time you went down to Tannum, where you spent a couple hours just in the back of a transport. But this time you get to kind of just walk around. You're not like being told, sit here and wait, go to your mechs and wait. Here, you've been given some leeway because you're a combat team that just got off of a multi-week long mission. So the crew chief and the crew that have cinching everything down, they kind of get the vibes that even if that's probably the case, that they should be telling you all that you wouldn't, one, listen, and two, wouldn't like allow yourself to be talked like that at this point. You're kind of, we've
earned our stripes at this point, mate.
You've earned your stripes.
We all look like shit. We haven't had a shower in weeks.
You've technically killed 3 Corvettes as a team.
This is
two
true.
of them.
Oh, two of them are belonging to
parked.
Yeah, two of them are Ursas. So
2 of them were Ursas and were parked on the ground, but one of them was flying in combat. So I mean, it still counts. It still counts.
They still can't use them. That's important.
That's the one.
But it's kind of like how the SAS destroyed more aircraft than the RAF did.
It's not. It's not their fault they were on the ground when they were destroyed.
It's true. Yeah.
Hey, if the enemy can't shoot back, that's fine.
Smart
That's
plan.
often the best time to attack them.
Yeah.
And to think they actually disbanded it apart from one reserve contingent.
But so you spend what kind of amounts to just shy of 2 hours in this transport.
Are we showering first or eating first when we get back? This is an important question that I need to ask you all now.
The correct answer to that is, as Drax just said, yes.
You eat in the shower. Honestly, if you can.
You basically grab chow on your way to the shower.
Power bar while you're showering.
It's actually a lot easier.
I'm not having another fucking meal cube.
You'll take.
There's only the
order to
shitty
eat.
ones left in the packs.
Spanner, I gave you that bar of chocolate. You could have that while you're going into the shower.
I'm saving that for special. How much chocolate is on this planet? Absolutely none.
I have.
That you know of.
Reaper gives you this look. Like, I can supply chocolate kind of look.
There's a chocolate substitute kind of plant that's in the southern hemisphere that, I mean, it kind of like you can make chocolate out of it.
It's venomous, but it does the job.
It's bright, it's like maroon though, so I mean, you're getting like a maroon colored chocolate, and it's also very waxy, so you kind of have to shave it to get like edible bits off. But and, there's a process to it. Usually it's drank. So that's the thing. And very bitter, and it doesn't play well with sugar. But people make do. But eating and showering is not that hard, because you're going to be in a ship for a while. It's orbiting. It's not under thrust, and this universe does not have artificial gravity.
Does this ship have showers?
It has. How to describe this? Not right. It has cleaning facilities, not showers right now. Essentially what they are is like a shower head that you can take off a wall and everything. Instead of it actually like dispensing water out at pressure, it is a like sponge thing that moistens, and you kind of just like rub.
Mess.
Yeah, the ship you're going to is probably got a galley.
A galley, not a mess. Just pointing that out. Sorry.
Yeah, it'd have a galley. Yeah. I knew that. I was already correcting.
So should the girl who is like getting married to a person from the Navy.
Sometimes I get the things confused. And also, there's rice pudding. If you don't want any, carry on.
That's what I thought, Rival. But yeah, there's probably a galley aboard the ship. You're not necessarily going to a large craft when you do eventually make it up to the ship and your transport docks with it. You end up aboard the, let's see here, I have notes. I did do GM prep for this. I'm just very tired. There's a difference. You end up on the Last Call, a destroyer. So not necessarily a massive ship, but large enough. It's got, it's got enough space for, I'd say probably like 3 of these transports packed in, though they only usually carry 2. So there's an emergency berth for like any they got to pick up. So you enter in there, but it's these ships, when you think about them, they're like they're massive. These are massive, like like interstellar system, like they're large. They're very large. Like it's not the size of a cruiser or carrier or something like that, but these are made to last and theoretically self-sustain for a couple of years without resupply. So they're pretty big. But you enter. This is the first time you've been on board this ship. You enter and kind of like what you saw. I think you were on the Piece of 8 on the way into Tanam. And the Piece of 8, most ships, they have these like kind of graphical designs to depict what like an emblem for the ship. And the Piece of 8 was a kind of a stereotypical like Spanish like Piece of 8, like in mid flip or something like that against a star field. And the Last Call is what looks to be some sort of nondescript liquor like bottle that looks like it's either being slid across a bar or is like tipping on a bar, like, or something like that. And you see that kind of like on a wall exiting the hangar. But yeah, you exit, and an officer, kind of middle rank officer, technically same like kind of authority level as you, Demon, though different command structures, so kind of iffy on that. Informs you that it'll be a couple hours. The Last Call dipped in for a rendezvous with the transport and is going back up to the safe orbit kind of bracket, and they're going to be catching up with the task force that was watching this mission, and you'll be transferred to a different ship to then be brought back to the FOB that the rest of the Lancer group is currently, or at least currently based at. Most of them are on different assignments right now. But yeah, so you're just kind of told there's here's the galleys over on this deck. This is for basically you're given the thing, don't go here, you're allowed here, don't go here. You got about it's a weird thing. You're in the military, so you're used to this. It's long enough that you kind of want probably to sleep, but it's short enough that you're really not going to be able to get any like usable time. So you're going to be like right when you get to the waiting period, then it's going to be hurry up to transfer ships. So it's kind of like it's that weird, not enough either direction. Like it's not short enough to not matter, and it's not long enough for you to settle in. So you're kind of just like in this weird space. But the galley is a galley for a lot of the kind of because this ship has a lot of different functions constantly shifting around, and there's just so many people. There's like, I don't know, a lot of staggered shifts within staggered shifts. So there's always people coming and going from this galley. So there's hot food that's being served. You are in 0G. Because again, this world does not have any form of gravity plating or artificial gravity other than spin gravity or thrust gravity. And the destroyer is not large enough to have a very large gravity block other than for like absolutely necessary functions. So like the sick bay, hazardous materials storage that don't play well with the 0G, stuff like that. Things like the galley, yeah, you're eating in 0G. Who gives a shit?
At least the food's hot.
Yeah, it's hot.
It's food.
Yes, it is food. It's military food, but it's not a cube. It's not, well, there is meatloaf, which is technically cuboid shape, but it's not like it's not, it's not that. It's not it's not the meal
It's not the random
cube.
sheet.
It's
Not
not
the random roll generator.
It's not.
It's actual food, but it's
Yeah.
packaged in the way that NASA packages food.
Yeah. Kind of. Yeah, essentially. This was whatever serving you're getting is one serving out of 2,000 that was flash heated by the galley like cooks. But it's hot. It's hot and it's ready. So,
Sometimes that's all you need.
it's a Little Caesars.
Military
Oleg,
and Little
you wanna go
Caesars
and find
are
a
more in common than
sandwich?
you think.
Oleg, do you want to find a sandwich?
I think Oleg just kind of comes back to reality. Sandwich? Food? Ah, yes.
I don't know why, but that "oh yes" reminded me of Dungeon Keeper.
I don't know what it is like, but you're always right on the cusp. Right on the cusp of being the heavy from like Team Fortress 2. You don't go all the way, but you're right. You're almost there. You're almost there.
Choice.
I commend you for not crossing the line. I wouldn't be able to do it. But yeah, if you go and try and find sandwiches, there's like a small selection of them. They're like pre-packaged, like what you find in like a gas station or like a truck stop or something like that, so they're in like little plastic carton, like slice. But if you want a hot sandwich, they've got those too. You just kind of like pick them out, and if you want a cold cut, all things. So there's enough food there for anybody. If you need basically anybody, if you want something, you can get it.
Is that officer still here? The person. Who was...
I mean, if you wanted to talk to him before he left, that's totally fine.
Yeah, I'll just approach him and go, you guys gonna be running into the cat's eye anytime soon?
Well, the cat's eye is on an over orbit above the task group for communication purposes. So, I mean, we'll be within communication before we're in communication with the ship you'll be transferred to.
I just wanted to shoot him a thanks and a confirm on the barrage they provided us. It was good cover. It was effective. Just wanted to make sure they knew that we appreciated it.
Get your pad. Just link into the comm system of the ship, and I'd say just link up with the NHP. Have it ping a reminder to you, and they'll give you a reminder when it's able to be sent. It's got to be point to point. But once we got to get through with the horizon. Once we're over the horizon, we'll be able to see it a lot sooner than we'll be able to see the rest of the ships.
Copy that. Thank you.
Yep. And if you need anything else, NHP should be able to help you. Your pad.
Copy. He sets up that little reminder for himself, and then he's going to go get some food and drink some military coffee because he's not going to be able to sleep. That'll probably be for later on.
Yeah, it's military coffee as well, so it's the consistency of like a thin mud.
Yeah, but it's also so
Thin mud.
caffeinated. You can
This was
taste the
brewed like
caffeine
8
falling.
hours ago.
Yep.
It's been kind of like sitting in that pot. Somebody's been like every couple of hours, somebody just comes up there and just kind of swishes it around and goes like, "Yeah, it's good."
There's enough caffeine in here to kill a man.
Yeah. And you also have the novel experience. Well, I guess for us it'd be a novel experience of trying to drink steaming hot, thick coffee through straw.
I mean, that's probably not an all too
In a
uncommon
bag.
experience for him.
Great. Oh, yeah, basically.
Ooh. Also, probably not all that too uncommon an experience for Reaper, given his experience in
Yeah, no, for
a
you,
lot of
not
traveling.
The,
So
the most
not, it's not all
depressing
good.
one is the rock hard bread.
Oh god, yeah.
That's the most depressing one. The rock hard bread.
You could use it as a building block in foundations. Like, you might actually
it's
think this is
usually
a
the
cement block.
rolls that like they end up flattening out because they're all stacked and they've been in a room temperature, environment, slightly above room temperature environment for a while because they're always too close to any sort of heat source. And then
It's not a
just
priority.
within a day, like literally
Yeah.
within a day, they're stalled up to the point you need to hammer nails with it.
Lucky for you, it's 0G and surface to orbit weight like transport and stuff like that, like cost, like money isn't necessarily a thing anymore, but like resource like expenditures and stuff is a thing. So if you want bread that isn't like a sandwich, you just want like bread to eat or something like that, the majority of the bread you're going to find in the galley is just flatbread because it stacks well, it doesn't weigh that much, and you get a lot more for how much it is, because and for just space saving wise. So you got that, which doesn't go as stale as quickly. It's still gonna be hard, but it's not gonna be as bad, And then you got little frisbee.
Or just put it.
That is like such military logistics thinking. It stacks well.
Yeah.
Sod anything to do with morale for the soldiers. It stacks well.
Yeah, they come in giant. It's like a Ritz cracker box. Just almost, yeah. It's 200 in a pack. Exactly.
What's that? Bread.
Yeah.
Freaking bread is this?
It comes in salted and unsalted variants.
The soy on and so what you fucking want me to do?
All of you assume it comes unsalted.
That's yeah. No, you're probably right about that. No, you're right.
They'll call it unsalted, but what it is, it's just low salt.
Yeah.
That sounds about right.
Or it would be unsalted, but they do just give you salt packets within the ration packs. And just if you want salted bread, you put salt on it. That's not how that works. That ain't gonna work.
This sounds
We're in
like a
0G
bodybuilding show. This legitimately sounds like a thing people would do for bodybuilding. Like, oh, I'm gonna salt my bread so it pulls all of my fluids out of my body. I'm like, are you insane?
We're like 2 degrees off.
It's worse than that. They don't bowl with. They do measure amount of salt. Do you know actually how they get themselves to lose the water content? A ridiculous amount of caffeine because it's a diuretic.
And wine.
They're going
sometimes.
through like 4 cups
Yeah, that's
before
true.
it's even lunchtime.
Let's be
They used
honest.
to use wine
So they're
layers
lightweights,
instead
is
of
what you're
bottle
telling me, Martari. They're lightweights.
wine. Yeah, they're not. They're not
They're
even
going
hitting
from
that.
like maybe 1 cup because these are like absolute health freaks in terms of like the nutrition they're putting in to get that sort of physique. You have to religiously stick to
And drugs.
very stringent
Lots of
diet.
drugs. Yeah.
As well as drugs, yeah. But they're
Yeah.
going from like maybe 1
So-
cup a day to like 4 before it's even lunch. That's a
Yeah.
massive.
So,
So I should have
Yeah.
the body of a Greek god, is what you're telling me. 'Cause in fact, I'm like
Yeah,
8 cups a day at the moment.
have you seen Greek gods though? You're not that far off from some of the original
This is
depictions
true,
of Greek
yeah.
gods. Like
This
they,
is
they
true.
weren't Adonises.
Which one are we talking about? Are we talking about Bacchus?
I was thinking
The
Hephaestus.
god of wine.
Hephaestus isn't depicted as a super buff guy with a lot of definition.
Is the god of sleep? I think, right?
Yeah, there's a couple. They've usually got like kind of honestly pretty normal builds. But yeah, so yeah, you get your food if you want to go take showers or get cleaned up or something like that. You're kind of like, there's essentially like communal, like shower compartments that you'd have to go to. But I mean, they have like individualized like stalls that you can use, but it's like a communal sanctuary. I think Battlestar Galactica, you know, in terms of like the head is like, you know, it's got a central mirror sink thing in the center of the room, and then everything else is on the edge. I think like that for the shower compartment, or I guess the cleaning compartment. Again, it's not a shower. It's just a moistened like sponge at the end of like a shower head that has really low pressure. It's just kind of like it wets the skin, and then you dry your skin off, and that's kind of like as best you're gonna get, honestly. But there's soap and everything. But yeah, you get yourselves cleaned. You don't have spare uniforms unless you pack spare uniforms, so you just kind of put on the uniform and gear you had on before.
It is pointless having a shower then.
You feel better.
It's not actually pointless, Red. It's actually very good, especially when you're trying to keep yourself awake.
Yeah. I mean, I had a shower right before we started the today's game because I only had 2 hours of sleep, and it woke me right up. It may have also been this giant cup of like double strength English breakfast tea that I'm drinking right now. But don't worry, that'll wear off.
What Roach is actually drinking is Kanga's Brew coffee. Provided by the whatever brand Kangas is from again. I don't remember which one.
She would be bouncing off the walls if that was true.
Maybe.
What do you think you're talking to?
Someone who drinks cappuccinos.
I drink cappuccinos. If I'm drinking coffee, I'm drinking cappuccino or I'm drinking like an iced coffee. Those are like the only two that I'll drink.
Rival, how do you take your coffee?
Black, like my soul.
Well, that makes sense.
I like my coffee dark, depressing, and foreboding.
Same.
You're both monsters. So,
this is true. Yeah, this is fair.
Yeah.
Well, duh, it took you long enough to figure that one out.
Nah, I knew about that. This just reinforces it. So yeah, you get a shower, you try and keep awake and everything, and eventually, if nobody else has anything to do, eventually the reminder comes by a couple hours before rendezvous, and you send off your message. The NHP on the ships, like this, their avatar that they depict is kind of this kind of weird, bubbly guy that's just kind of happy to be here. Just kind of like
perpetually drunk.
It's the vibe you're getting is they might have really leaned into the name as a way of like a touchstone for the persona. But they're professional. They're not like messing up anything. They just kind of like have that kind of like vibe of it. But they're quick with helping you and if you need anything or connecting you with stuff. So I mean they're efficient with that. But yeah, you're kind of just like sitting around waiting for a long time. Just a long time. Like a shift change happens, and then another one happens, like offset a half hour from that, or everything.
Do we have access to the mechs?
Yeah, if you go back, they have not been offloaded from the transport because it looks like the plan is maybe the ship you're going to be transported to has stuff this ship needs, and you're just going to be trading transport craft, or they're going to be trading transport craft. So it doesn't make sense for them to unload anything because it's just going right back out. So it's still everything's still strapped down just how you left it. Nobody from this ship is doing any maintenance on the mechs. Like you see them around. They are doing maintenance on like everything else, including the transport craft. They're doing like they're checking seals. They're running diagnostics on things. They're cleaning the scorch marks and carbon buildup and stuff like that. But there's nothing going on with the mech itself. But nobody stops you if you go in.
Spanner will keep herself awake and go and give the Brave a bit of a tidy up. Not anything maintenance, just they've been in the desert for weeks. That is bad on a mech.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. And it does keep you awake because there's a lot of, because you're in 0G working with fine silica particulates, potentially there's PPE you have to doff, like you have to don before you start working on that.
Little vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, the NHP turns on a couple of pressure differentials kind of in the environment you're on, so things kind of don't escape that easy and stuff like that. But you clean what you can clean. You know, it's probably not going to be fully clean until you get into a gravity well again and actually can use gravity to your advantage by like putting this thing in a hoist and turning it 90 degrees.
It's more to keep herself occupied because otherwise it's reading and reading. I don't know about anyone else. Can make you sleepy.
Yep. But you go about that. And everybody, you know, whatever your ritual is for an awkward amount of time you are forced to wait, you may go about doing that, whether that be actually having been used to this kind of block of time and do manage to sleep, or go to a gym that's on the deck that you're allowed to go to, or just kind of like hang out in the galley or there's a rec room that seems to be for like enlisted personnel and the like, that people kind of just like congregate around that are off duty, off shift. Because technically, with the way space combat works and everything, if this ship is shot at, they have a lead time of about an hour and a half before it actually has any chance of hitting them. So they've got time to call general quarters. So it's a bit lax right now in terms of their active presence. And does anybody partake in the rec room or anything like that?
Yeah, I'm gonna.
Okay. When you enter the rec room, you're greeted by a couple of different things. A 0G adaptation of air hockey that uses like 2 positive pressure like jets to keep the puck in like a single plane, but is otherwise like tableless. It's just a projected 3D like image and everything. A couple people are playing that. There's some like trying to hit a ball into a target point across. Like it's more of a precision game instead of a throwing kind of strength game. There's some people reading. There's some people just lying about, talking. There's cards, obviously, a lot of cards going on. There's a large congregation of individuals that are just kind of like sitting around like a screen that's embedded in the wall watching something. And as you enter, and if you give it like 5 minutes, you get the sense that whatever remote exists for this television screen, for this display screen, whatever remote controls it, must be lost.
Oh no.
Because the channel they're watching doesn't make sense, but they're watching it as if this is the only thing they can watch right now. As if the remote is being requisitioned and they need a replacement for whatever it is. And what you see is obviously an Avari Military Solutions intranet channel that is like, a standard thing you can access from every Avari base or every Avari installation and everything. And this is like the preschool channel that they pipe into like the childcare facilities and stuff like that. So you see Andy, the Avari Aardvark, in like a cartoon depiction of him. And they're learning to count right now. Though Avari's messing it up, like Andy is messing it up a lot. And what you get the sense is of these guys really have nothing else to do. So there's a lot of jeering and calling this cartoon Aardvark an idiot. There's some things being thrown, stuff like that.
I'm loving the fact that we keep the Alvari Aardvark thing, because Midge brought that up once, and it's now been inputted into canonical timelines, and I appreciate that.
Yeah. You don't think I'm going to use that material?
It's great material. It's great
gold.
material from it's great material from the brain of Midgeman. Yeah. Secondly, I'm going to ask, like, just a random person who's there. So, where's the remote? Is it just gone, or?
We think the guys from B deck took it, because we sabotaged the air hockey, the air hockey table, so that one edge of the jets was 2% higher in terms of its like air pressure. So they immediately like went right for, if you stirred it went right for the guy's nuts. And so they did this.
I don't really blame them. However,
I mean,
this will drive me insane. So, give me a minute.
Yeah, Chief's been eyeing
check.
that screen really angry. Like, he looks at this guy and you see this fucking guy, enlisted man. This is an enlisted guy's best. Like there's not, like, officers got a different different rec room to go to, or a different place to go, or the personal facilities. You just see this fucking chief, who's probably like 50, like at least like biological 50, like gray hair and everything like that, who on a good day hates existence. And like,
he's been around so long that he's like, I have to stick
vein.
out these last year or 2 years of enlistment to get my retirement and pension.
There's a
And if I
vein
didn't
popping on his thing, and you're not sure if it's just because he's forced to watch this cartoon Aardvark, or because he's so mad at at this Aardvark messing up counting to 10. And it honestly could be both.
So what I would like to do, because I'm going to assume that there's only so many places in this room where you could hide that remote, because someone's going to, they probably didn't take it out of the room, because the guys at B deck probably come up here and then watch this stuff without these guys here, because I assume they're on shifts, right? That would make some sense.
Oh no, each deck has its own rec. That's what they did. These guys are on C deck. They went down to B deck and messed with their rec room to fuck with them. This is a thing. So that goes back and forth.
That remote's not in that room. I can tell you that.
So I look. I see,
that remote
I see
might
chief.
be out of an airlock.
Yeah, I see the chief, and I'm like, you know what? Reaper thinks to himself, you know what? Just for the sake of everybody's blood pressure, especially that guy, because he might have an actual aneurysm at any moment, or break the screen. Maybe both at the same time.
I mean, the last time he really lost it, I mean, honestly, last time it was just an ensign. We got chewed out for a good solid 3 hours in a hallway, and I'm gonna be honest, man. Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. It was great
because it wasn't directed at you.
He was kind of a dick.
Fair. Give me a second. And then he leans into his headset, because he's probably still wearing the headset, because it's his music headset as well as it is his.
I assume you don't take it off. Assuming it's got sound pass-through.
He just goes, "Hey, Spanner.
Yeah?
Could you do me and the boys of this rec room in here? There's a chief in here who looks like he's about to kill somebody. A favor? Could you print us a remote for this TV and program it for them?"
What type of TV is it?
I give her the brand.
pretty solid, standard wall mount.
It's military branded, so it's going to be the sturdiest, shittiest, cheapest thing you can get.
Yeah.
Do you want me to print 2?
Sturdy is option.
Yes. Print 200 of them. Fuck it. No, just print it.
I ain't doing that. I'll print 2. And I'll print 2 remotes. And go through my box of bits to find batteries. Because I assume lithium ion is still the best battery.
Probably
Because
silly.
Oh.
that doesn't change.
Honestly, at this point, the amount of natural, the amount of material science that would exist here, you could probably power something like a remote, which requires such a minimal amount of power to operate something based off of skin heat. Just grabbing it would just conduct the thermal energy of your skin.
Pick up
in
your phone
body.
and it charges like this, kind of thing.
Maybe not that, because that requires a lot of power. But a remote definitely is
a remote,
it's just a bit, and it just does it. So it probably doesn't require batteries, but yeah, you have enough that you can make functional remotes without too much issue, because you do have that mini printer.
10 minutes later, Spanner comes up to the rec room and sneaky changes the channel.
You all are you don't have you get whatever you want. You two are showered with thanks. You've not only saved these individuals' sanity, but you may inadvertently stop to murder.
That chief was minutes away from killing somebody. on
He
C-deck.
picks one of the remotes because I assume Reaper goes that guy,
Yeah.
and then one goes onto the table.
Or into a sleeve, because it's 0G, right? There's probably
Yeah.
a sleeve for it, so it doesn't go anywhere.
Probably has Velcro or some other magnet or something like that. Just to slap it on there. Though, if you give it to Chief, uncharacteristically, or at least to you, Reaper, who has experience with the military thing, very uncharacteristically, when Spanner gives the remote to Chief so he can change the channel himself, he gives a grunt of approval without any form of reproachment.
I go up to after that happens. I go up to
or-
Spanner and just go, "That was the first time I've seen a chief actually be happy with somebody. That is incredible. I didn't think they had. I didn't think chiefs could feel joy."
Spanner, his face didn't change at all. He was pretty neutral the whole time. You're not exactly sure what he's talking about, but I mean, people are happy.
This kind of lack of emotion is why I didn't enlist. I'll see you later.
I get it. That's fair. But that might be the happiest I think I've ever seen anyone be in that rank. So, congratulations. You've maybe actually witnessed a miracle.
Yeah. Reaper, you've seen you just saw a unicorn.
Yeah, I've seen a happy chief.
This doesn't happen.
Yeah, I've seen a chief be happy.
It's just
Even if it was
seeing
only
a
for
pair of
microsecond.
warrant officers just walking around in the U.S. Army. Sorry, I had to put that out there.
Yeah, context.
Context, U.S. Army. It's like finding 2 warrant officers. It's like seeing unicorns or a leprechaun.
It's like, oh my god, there's warrant
They
officers are around.
exist.
For context for those for the podcast, those that are British, the reason why that's a joke is because American warrant officers are technical specialists. Their sergeant majors are enlisted personnel still. They cannot have warrants. So when you see a warrant officer, it's very rare because you maybe have 1, maybe 2 in a given battalion that kind of appear whenever they kind of feel like it, because they're technically treated as commissioned officers, but they still have the mindset of an enlisted man.
What are you gonna do? Who are you gonna replace him with?
Some major can't do anything with
Someone in the
Yeah.
Disney chat wants to
Yeah,
add
yeah.
with it's like seeing an
COs
E4
don't do
doing their
anything
job.
because they're technical specialists.
Well, yeah, it is like seeing an E4 do their job. Yeah, it is just as rare. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
It's E4 Mafia, but completely untouchable. So,
Yeah.
yeah, that's important context for those on the podcast. Why we're joking about it, given that in the British Army, you see warrant officers.
The British Army, that doesn't exist.
Warrant officers.
Yep. And that's the thing. I probably should have realized that before I made the joke, given the fact that there's only one other American here.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, but yeah,
But
so
most
that's
of our
what you.
listeners are American, so
That's
Check that.
true.
check
So
that.
yeah, you
Anyway.
spend that's you spend you spend some time doing that, and for the rest of the the time, people are just like, if you
The
want
heroes
to see,
the heroes of B deck, Spanner and Reaper.
yeah, there's already talk about how they're gonna get back at C deck. Everything. There's talk of maybe fucking with the coffee dispensers within their rack.
I step in and go, listen, boys,
decaf.
the one thing we don't fuck with is a working man's caffeine. Do not do that, you will die.
It takes like a split second, and like somebody goes, "Yeah, you're right."
However, I would recommend instead
Ketchup and
making
mustard.
those-
Switch it around.
Yes, that's a good idea. That's
Yeah.
harmless and also moderately annoying.
Yep. Yeah, there's already a plan getting in motion. But yeah, you spend that time there. If you want to spend any time there, Spanner, you're the hero as well.
No,
so-
I'm gonna leave the joy. Remind Reaper if they offer anything to get the good booze and head back down.
Yeah, nobody offers you material rewards, but
They don't have it.
They don't. Yeah, they don't have it. These are enlisted. These are enlisted. These are enlisted
The
on.
chief would be the only one who would give you anything, and he's already given you a unicorn. He's not giving you anything more.
Yeah. Fuck, Chief's supposed to be on shift about a half hour ago. He's just kind of sitting around. Who gives a shit? He's
Chief's
that
been
right.
here so long, no one gives a shit.
No, yeah, no one gives a shit. People are not even really sure he's still in the Avari Navy, but he's here.
He retired.
No
2
one
months
asks
ago.
the
They just
question.
haven't taken him home yet.
Yeah, no one asks the question because no one wants to get into an argument with Chief.
Yeah.
He retired in cryo on the way here.
No one told him because they're not exactly sure what'll happen if he doesn't have this one string holding him down anymore. If that all comes apart, what that's gonna, it's just gonna be like something held together by rubber band and just go. But yeah, so you spend that time, you go through all that, you have your fun, or at least you see this really fucking weird situation, or at least like moderately weird situation. But when you really think about it, I mean, this probably happened before, at least on some level. That exists. Maybe not that specific situation, but yeah. But you go through the rest of your journey before you are all kind of like, there's a page that happens over the intercom to Special Operations Group Hammer to report to Transport 51Y, and then they head over. They tell you to, now they actually tell you to kind of cinch down, because it's going to be kind of like a jostly thing, because now it's like jostling off of the dock, a burn away from the ship, arresting burn, switch around. Like, there's maneuvers going on. Nobody's really openly walking interior of the transport. But thankfully, it's only about 20 minutes for the whole round trip from that destroyer to the ship you are going to be traveling the rest of the way on, which is the kind of worse, I guess, in a sense, but the smaller frigate rolling stop, which you exit out. This is a smaller ship. Only has berth spacing for 2 transports. So your transport that you just came in on is the only one on board. Less people, bit more sedate, but you're going to be here for enough time that they do give you kind of like a temporary bunk room for you to share, so you can actually get like a shift of sleep if you want it, and then you'll be kind of like awoken forcefully after after enough time's passed, then the transport's going to do a hard drop into kind of the protected orbital corridor to approach the actual fob, the corkscrew downward that you've seen from the surface. Now you have to go through that, which funny enough actually doesn't, like, I'm just going to gloss over the actual 6-hour transfer aboard the frigate, gloss over that. But when you do finally do the downward corkscrew into the fob, it looked really aggressive when you were looking at it from the ground outside. But from the inside, it just kind of feels like a ship banking constantly, but there's not like a lot of, like, you don't feel it too much. You're, fairly gentle. But yeah, eventually you set down and you're back at home base, which I think actually leads us to our break time, right? Almost exactly. Sweet.
1 minute over, actually.
Yes, we're 1
Really?
minute over our midpoint break. I need to double check. Are we? How are we going for tonight's broadcast? Are we decided in break or?
Say let's go easy in the first one as well, because I'm definitely starting to feel that this double shot caffeine tea has hit the wall.
Mhm.
You know what I'm talking about. it's not doing anything.
So instead of
But yeah,
break,
so we're set up. Yeah, instead of break, let's end it here, because now we've gotten through the recap, your transport back, and next week we can actually get to what happens during the big, time to the next mission, and a recap and an actual, the next mission. So it helps. Mikey, yes, go ahead.
Do we also level up at the end of this session?
Yes, you do level up. You will be level 3. So that'll be a thing we do during the intervening time. For anybody who's new watching this on Twitch, normally this is our midpoint break, and we have the second half of the episode after that. But a couple of us aren't feeling like 100% back. I had 2 hours of sleep over the last night, last 2 days. I'm running on fumes. And a few other individuals here are needing probably some time. So I think this is good. But we'll be back next week. I can say that we're going to be back next week. We're back. We're working on it.
we're
So,
properly back. Yeah, so join us next week for more of this, of Lancer. It's just
This
good
absurd
business.
fucking game.
But that's your recap session. Thank you everybody for coming, and we will see. All we've got left to do is to thank those who have been here. Thank you to Commissar Roach for writing and GMing this campaign. Thank you to Red Moogle and RivalzoneGaming from RivalzoneGaming. Thank you to SurelyOnlyMikey, to Utari, Onzo, to DM Lake. I've been Midgeman. We have been the component cast of Tuesday Crew, and this has been your recap. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.